Hello friends, welcome to the TechBizSoft. So today we are going to cover object class, okay, which is a parent of all the classes. So let me write it here like object. It is a class actually. Here it is not object, it is a class. Okay, do not think like that object where that do we talk. Yeah, that object also we do create, but it is a class itself in Java, which is a part of one package. The package name is lang package. I will tell you what is lang package. Okay, so there is a one package in Java called lang package, and inside that package having a one class called object. This object class you can see here in Java. Object class methods are methods that belongs to the object class. So it is having some methods. Okay, what are the methods that we are going to cover? Object class methods are method that belongs to the object class, which is the root class of all the Java classes, right? I think that will not give any sense right now, so let me remove this one right now. Okay, so it is a lang is a package name, and in the lang package we have one class called object class, and in Java it is a root class actually. Okay, it is an root class of all the Java classes, right? Every class Java automatically inherit from the objects. That means the class that we created till today, till last session, right? Every class was a child of object class, indirectly or directly. Okay, it is a child of object class only, either directly or indirectly, which means all object class have access these method, right? So object class having some method which are useful a lot, which we are going to understand today. What is the use of these methods and how we can, what is the purpose of them, and when do we use that in our custom classes also. Okay, so please understand object class is a root class of every class. It is a parent of every class, right, which is having some methods. So if you know the inheritance rule, right, inheritance does simply say that. If you do not know that, please watch that inheritance recording which I already recorded. Inheritance does always say that the parent class and the child class, we have two classes, right? So child class having authority to access the parent class method directly, right? So look, some methods of the object class. First method is called toString, okay, and equals method, has code, get class, right? These are the some method of object class. Other than that, we have like thread related methods as well, which is a wait, which is taking no parameter. One is taking no parameter, one is taking one parameter, and one is taking two parameter, right? So this is a method thread related. Notify all. So this is also a two method of thread, right? Notify all. So 1 2 3 4 5 method we have, that is a thread related method, right? And two methods we have which is a memory management related, finalize and clone. Finalize is deprecated from the JDK 9 onwards, right? So called by the garbage collector. Garbage collector is one of that kind of thread, okay, that will call by the JVM itself, that is a daemon thread, okay, which is called by the JVM to release the memory, right? So as we know, right, we are going to use some internal memory management, right? So Java does allow auto memory management. It will allocate, it will deallocate. That all is a task of the JDK only. So finalize is only used for deallocate the memory, kind of that, right? So collect called by the garbage collector before the object is destroy. Right, this method is destroyed since Java 9, right? So this method is deprecated since Java 9 onwards because it is unreliable and can cause perform issue. So that could be some issue, because of that it is deprecated from the Java 9 onwards. And then we have a like clone method. Clone method is used to create the duplicate copy of your object, This method is protected method. Okay, what is a protected? That also we are going to cover. And so class must override it to take accessible, right? So these are the methods of object class. So let's understand one by one all these methods. Okay, these four methods are one of the important, right? toString, equals, and has code. On that four, I can say these three are the top most, and two more important method, because these method are going to use in collection also. On that, see, method all are important, but these four method on the four, these three and these two method are too much important, equals and has code, because later on that one topic is coming called collection. In the collection, this has code and equals method will play very important role, right? So we have to understand all the methods. We understand one by one. Okay, let's start now. So I'm going to create a new class in the IntelliJ, which is a test class, and it is extending a object class. So object class will by default come here, right? Let's say here I am writing a one main method. In the main method I am writing here, I'm creating object of test class, like test t equal to like a new test. It's not new, right? We have already seen that how to create object. Now I'm writing a system system.out.println, and then I'm passing like t. What is the t here actually? T is a reference. T is a reference which is having address of this test class, right? Let me run this, what it display here. You can see here what it is giving me. It is giving me one org.example.test. org.example is a package name, and then test class name @ some hexadecimal value. That means it is some address of this particular of this particular object. So normally when the object address will create, right, that will be a combination of package name, right, class name, and some hexadecimal value @ some hexadecimal value. So indirectly actually it is, whenever do we call the reference, we do pass the reference here, right, it indirectly call the toString method. That means if I will write here t, or if I will write a t.toString, both are look like same only. Okay, because indirectly this is also calling the toString method, and the toString method is not from the test class. I did not define that anywhere in the test class. So indirectly it is a method of object class. If you will run this, right, you can see here I am getting that same things in both the places. 775AB 7765 5AB 7765, package name, class name, everything is like same only. So that means whenever we do pass reference inside the SOP, indirectly it will call the toString method. That you have to keep in your mind. You can call them or you can not call them, right? Both time it is calling the toString method, and toString method belongs to object class. So that is the rule of inheritance. The child class, here test is a child class of the object class. The rule is that the child class reference can call the object class method directly, right? So if I will not write extend here, right, that time also it will work. Okay, that time also it will work. That means indirectly this test class is extending the object class, right? And I told one more thing like lang package, right? So here we have like one package called lang. So I will say import java.lang .object. So it is the one actually package which is automatically import, right? So when do we create the package here, right? Package is nothing like a folder here, right? Let's understand what is a package. So that is also one of the important part, right? Package is what? It is nothing like a folder in general terms you can understand. It's like a folder which is having a collection of classes, which is having collection of classes or interfaces, right? Which is having collection of classes and interfaces. So this package, if I will create, right, if you want to use that, right, suppose I created one package, and if you want to use any class of it, right, let me do one more thing here. I will create one more package here, could be say like say object class, okay, something like that. Object class, what it is, it should be a package, right? So let me create the package under the Java only. So package, so that could be a object class, say examples. Okay, inside that suppose I'm creating a new class, say like my class, right? This my class having a suppose one method like test method, okay, which will having a suppose one void return type. Okay, simply here I am writing system dot out dot println, I am writing here like hello my class, right? So if you want to use this test method, right, what we have to do, we have to go to this suppose if I want to use this into this test class here, right, what I have to do here, I have to create the object of this class. Which class? My class. My class m equal to new my class. My class, if you want to use it, right, you can't use directly because it is creating here, right? So we have two packages. Object class example, there is a one package, and org.example is a one package, and I'm using here my class. So it is asking, by default I did not write any input here, right? So it is taking this org example my class only. But if you want to use this object class example, right, we have to import it. So let me do this. So it is giving me two options. My class you want from org.example. So org.example, I am writing this test class under this only, right? So this time this import is not required. Second, it is giving me option. We have like one more my class, which is a part of object class example. So which one you want to keep it? So let's say I want to keep this one only because this I want to use. So here it is taking like this way, but we do not want to keep like this way. We have to it like import only. So here I will keep import, right, package name dot class name. What is the class name? My class, right? So import is a one of the way which will say that if you created the class some other place, and if you want to use this into the same to the different places, right? Places means here I'm talking about folder, package only. Suppose you created a one class in a different package, and if you want to use this class into a different package, right, that time we have to use import actually, right? But lang is a one package which is optional to import. Like for example here, if you want to use my class, right, I can't ignore this. If I will remove it, right, if I will ignore this time this my class will not be a part of this particular package. That time I may get some issues, right? It may be a possibility, guys, you will have a multiple classes, right, with the same name but in a different packages. So that time you have to be very careful about it, which package we have to import. If you will import the wrong package, that time it will be a problem. So this time here my class is not coming from this org.example, it is coming from the object class example.myClass. So that's why I'm saying that lang is a one package which is by default import, object is a one class which is by default extend, right? So that way we do use object class and lang package, right? So here, yeah, what I was doing here, I was doing that I was creating the object of test class, right? Test equal to like, or let's go with the my class only. Okay, so what happened, right? If I will go with the system dot out dot println, if I will display here m, what does it do here? It is by default called the object class method, right? Object class method, we have what? Which method it will call? It will call the toString method, right? So let me write here. When do we pass what? Reference, right? Reference inside SOP. SOP means system.println, right? It will call toString method, right? toString method. So toString method will call, right? If you want to change the output of it, suppose I don't want to display, like by default what does it do? It will give me some hexadecimal address, right? Let me rerun it. So it will give me some package name, class name dot some. So here you can see that I am getting here, this is a object class example package. I mean this my class belongs to object class example. Now if you want to display something else, you don't want to display, then what do? I will come here and I will override that toString method. So what I will do here, I will write simple toString method, right? So it will give me option. toString method, you have to just click on it. So that means you can see by default you are getting an option like override. So override means what? You know, override means what? That means this method is coming from the parent class. So which parent class it is coming? Object only, right? Here suppose I want to return like like hello my class, something like that. Okay, this time what will happen? Here toString is returning hello my class, and hello my class I am using, so I am calling here m only, right? So m is calling the toString method. So this time in the my class I have overridden one toString method, right? So whenever it will call the toString method, right, it will not call object class toString method, because there is a rule of overriding, right? If you have the same method into the child class, it will call the child class only. It will call the child class only, it will not call the parent class. So that means this time when it will call that toString method, right, it will not call the object class toString method, it will call my class toString method, right? So what will happen on that case? If you will run it, you can see here I am getting hello my class. So this time I am not getting address. So object class toString method is having some kind of hexadecimal representation of the address, but here it is my class, where I overridden the toString method, right? I custom the particular message. So that we have to understand that indirectly it is calling the toString method, right? So this one and like that one, both are the same only, like dot toString, right? Both are the same only. So toString method, whenever you want to change, you want to display some object, right, then we have to call it, right? Or it will directly call when you pass it in under the SOP, right? So by default it will call object class toString. If you want to override, you can override and you can call your own class toString method as well, and you can customize the message of it. Clear it? Now next method that we are going to understand, like equals method. Okay, so the toString method is over. Return the string representation of the objects. By default it returns the class name followed by the hash code, right? But it's commonly overridden to provide meaningful strings representation. So whenever we do override, we can override, right? So we can provide some meaningful string representation, right? So that is a method, public string and toString. So that is a kind of signature of it, signature of this method. What it is returning? Get class dot get name. If you want to change, we can change that as. So that means that is a kind of definition of it. Okay. So next method we have equals method, which is taking as an object parameter. So object means parent only, right? So we can pass any other class as well here, right? I will tell you what is meaning of it. So equals method is what? Compare two objects. Compare two objects for equality, right? The default implementation uses, that is a reference equality, but it's often overdone to compare the object content. What does it mean? What does it mean? That we are going to understand. So two things you have to understand here. One is a reference comparison, right? Reference equality and content equality. Content and reference. That two things you have to understand here. Okay. Let me try to explain that. Okay. So let me open that paint here. What is the meaning of reference and content? Okay. Let me try to explain that once here. So let's say I'm creating here. Let's say I'm creating here like two objects. Okay. There is one class, like suppose employee. Okay. Let's take example of it. Employee. Employee class are having a like a two variable. Okay. Like ID and name. I'm just keeping short only. Okay. I'm not keeping some. Okay. Let me keep complete. Okay. That could be suppose integer type, integer ID, and that could be type of suppose string here, a string type of name. Okay. Now I'm creating a constructor here called employee, which could be two parameterized constructor. Suppose one is taking ID, second is taking like suppose name, and inside that what I will do here, I will initialize that this dot ID equal to ID, right, and this dot name equal to name, right. Now suppose I'm using a one class here, which is a test class. Suppose I'm using a one class like a class test, and here I'm going to write main method. So I'm writing again shortcut psvm, okay, public static void main shortcut. Then what I'm doing here, I'm creating the object of employee class, right? Employee equal to new employee, and I'm passing here some values like 101 comma say like ln, okay. And second, again I'm creating a one or more object, employee e1 equal to say like new employee, where I'm passing 102 comma say like black. Okay, like that. So what I'm doing here, I'm creating a two different object here, okay, two different object here. Now suppose if you're here, if I will do comparison, right, e double equal to e1, or let's say I will make a one okay, let me keep it directly here, okay. Let's say system dot out dot println, and I'm keeping here suppose e double equal to e1, and one I'm writing here suppose system dot out dot println like e dot equals what, e2 e1 suppose. So we have two different things here, right? I created one employee class, and employee class having ID name, and here I'm keeping simple ID name, and here we are writing employee object, and I am passing these two things here, and I'm comparing e double equal to e1, or let me write here one more thing here, okay. Instead of equals, let me write e dot id double equal to e1 dot id. Yeah, I think that will be the right way, so that you can understand in a better way. So here we are doing e double equal to e1 dot id double equal to e dot id, e1 dot id. What is happening here? So what is the e and e1? E and e1 are the reference. So let me make a one diagram as well here. So what happen here? It will having an object like e and e1, right? So it will create two different block. Okay, how this object reference does work? Please look on it. So that will be divided in two different part, right? One will be the ID, and second will be the name, right? So here ID what it will be 101, and what could be the name like ln here. Same thing like here also, it will create one more block. So that type of block will create into a memory where this value does store. It will also having a like suppose ID, and it is also having a like suppose name, right? So here also it will store some values, so like 102 and like suppose black. Okay, now here it will having some memory address, so I'm keeping suppose it is a like a at, I'm just supposing it could be any a at 123, and here I'm keeping like b at 123. So this block is called of anonymous block, but they block having a one particular address, a at 123, b at 123. Now it is creating a one reference here like e1, e and e1. So we have a like two different block. First one is called e1, and second one is called e2. Second one is called e2. So what does happen here? This e1 will point to this particular block, and e2 does point to this particular block. Okay, so we have a e1 and we have a like e2 here. So e1 is pointing to that block, e2 is pointing to that block. And what could be the value of e1? Value will having a like a at 123, and here it is having a like value b at 123. So here e double equal to e1. What does the e have? E is having a at 123, and what is the e2 having a b at 123. So a at 123, b at 123, if it is comparing here, right, double equal to e1, what is happening here? Here it is happening a reference comparison. What is happening? A reference comparison. And if I will write it e1 dot id double equal to e dot id equal to double e1 dot id, right? So what is e dot id? 101. What is the E1, E2? It's not E1 actually, it's E only, right? So let me make it like E only here. It is a E, okay, and it is a E1. You can understand, okay, it's wrongly I have written here. So that could be E1. Okay, so here let me, instead of keeping this 102, let me keep it like 101 only here, okay? So that way you can understand. Like 101 only, suppose. So here E double equal to E1, both are having a different thing. E is having a A at 1 to 3, E1 is having a B at 1 to 3. So that means that is a reference comparison. E1 dot ID double equal to E1, E dot ID equal to double equal to E1 dot ID. That means here we have a like 101, 101. Here also it is content comparison. So here it is having a content comparison and here it is having a reference comparison. So that way you can understand. That's a content comparison and that is a kind of reference comparison. It is having a kind of a reference comparison. So that way you can understand what is the meaning of content comparison and reference comparison. So the default nature of the equals method, right, that we have seen, right? What is the use of compare two objects for the equality? The default implementation uses reference equality. That means whatever the double equal to operator work, I mean it's compare the reference only, right? So what are the reference we have here? E and E1. So E and E1 will be definitely always will be different because address is different only, right? That means they are going to compare the reference only, right? So how do we achieve it? So now let's come to this example only. So I created here, hope you understood this, right? Let me repeat it once again. So I created two objects. So there's a two different block we'll create, E and E1, right? Where E having some ID and name, and E1 is also having some ID and name, and it is assigning some particular value on it, right? Now what I will do here, let's look this example. I have a like my class, okay, and I created here like two objects, my class M, and I'm keeping here suppose one more, or let's say create one employee class itself, okay, so you will not confuse. Let's say create the same class like employee. Employee class is having a two attribute, okay, one is ID, so let me keep private integer of ID, right? Second having a like private string type of suppose name, okay. Then what I will do here, I will override the method. So I will go here generate generate. So what I want to keep it one constructor only here, constructor two parameterize, as well as I want to keep one getter and setter also. So generate only getter, setter is not required because we have already constructor, right? So it will set the value. I think it took the one only. Let me keep two parameterized constructor here. So that will set the value. Generate constructor of both field. Okay. So if you want to assign it right from there, what I will do, I will pass here employee object, employee E equal to new employee, and I will pass here 101/ln. Okay, same I will pass here employee E1 equal to new employee, and I will pass here 102 comma say like black. Okay. This time what happened, right? If I will write system dot out dot print, right, and if I will write here E double equal to E1, right, and if I will write here system dot out dot println, and if I will write here E dot equals E dot equals like E1. Okay, so what is happening here? Here it is doing content comparison, right? This is also doing the same like content comparison. So both are the equal only, because here this equals is calling from the object class, right? So that way if you will write double equal to E double equal to E1 or E dot equals E1, that means both are look like the same only, and both are doing the reference comparison only. Both are doing the reference comparison only, and reference comparison is E and E1, and that E and E1 will give me a different values. E is having a different address, E1 is having a different address, right? And they will give me different values, look like that, right? So let me understand this way, will provide the same values, so that will be clear on it, right? So right now you can see here, I have a same value here, 101 ln, 101 ln, because comparison always happen with the same value only, right? That's why I kept it same. So 101 ln, 101 ln, both are the same only. So that time what happened, right? This will give me what? Will be give me true or false? So it will give me a false only, because it is comparing reference only, not like content, right? And that will also give me a false. So let me run this once. Right? What we are getting here? False, false. Because here having a different addresses, right? E is having a different address, E1 is having a different address, and both are returning, both are having a different thing, right? So how they can be true? They will be false only. And that is also doing the same thing, reference comparison, right? Now let me do one more thing in the employee class, because here I am creating object of employee class only, right? Here I am creating object of employee class. So now I will go employee class and I will override that equals method. So I will right click on it and I will click on generate. You don't have to write the code, you have to just take the predefined method. So actually hash code equals comes together. So let's say next, create. So it is created, right? That time right now this is not required for me. I will keep only equals method. Whatever is written that will look later on, but right now you can see I am overriding the equals method here, right? After overriding this, right, see what will happen. If I will run this code, debug. Okay, so what happened here, right? It is giving me a true. First one is giving me a false, and second one is giving me a like true only. Let me rub this, otherwise it will give a confusion to you. Let me rerun once. Okay, see here. So this time this equals method is not calling from the object class. This is calling from the employee class, because in employee class we have overridden it, right? So if you will override that equals class, equals method into your class, right? That time all it is doing content comparison. So that time it is comparing 101 and ln. And previously if I will not override, right, that was comparing reference only, which is E and E1. So that is use of equals method. If you will override it, it will do the content comparison. If you will not override, if you will call the object class, right, that time it is doing the reference comparison. So that is only the definition is saying here. Equals method compare two objects for equality, right? So it is compare the reference or content. If it is not overridden, it is doing the reference comparison. If it is overridden, it is doing the content comparison, right? So these are the use of this toString and equals method. Rest of the method will look on next session. Okay. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like the video, please subscribe it. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.